Hey there, it's me again, Gian Lasala, and welcome to another episode of Pageant Talks. And I'm so happy that finally we're doing this interview with one of the most gorgeous women competing at the 2020 Miss Grand International Pageant from Kenya, Irene Mukii. Hi, Irene. Yay, finally we're doing this. So Irene and I have been friends.
Excited.
I know, have been friends for a little while now, and she is a pageant veteran, being that she was Miss Africa Calabar 2019. And that is your version of the prestigious Miss Asia Pacific and Miss Europe. So here she is. She looks very fabulous. Hi, Irene. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. I'm just like, let's get on with it. Woo!
I know. So Irene, so first question, since you're all excited to start, who is Irene? And what is so special about Irene? Can you tell everyone who you are and what's special about you?
I mean, it's so hard to put someone into just a few statements, especially because there's a whole 22 years of my life to go through. But I think what remains consistent about me all throughout my life is something like I like to call myself a nurturer. I really, really pay attention to the things I say and how they can impact someone else. And I look to nurture talent in people. I look to nurture confidence. And that's basically why I'd call myself a nurturer. That's something that has been consistent all throughout my life. I remember when I was a child, everyone would call me teacher. But the reason they would say that is because every time I'd look to always insert something into your mind, into a new way of thinking, a new ideology. So that's one of the things that is consistent about me. And that's what I'd like people to know about me. I am a nurturer.
Nice. And you know what? It's so nice that you pointed that out, because everyone in the world today needs someone like you who has the heart of God, who knows how to discern, has the wisdom and encourage people to be a better version of themselves. Because during this time, most especially in the pandemic, where everyone's just so down, everyone needs to hear from someone like you who nurtures people. And that's like basically caring and encouraging people with so much sincerity and love. So Irene, next question. You won Miss Africa Calabar 2019. So tell us more about it, and how did it go? Like, how were you chosen and how was the experience?
It was a crazy experience for me. I always start preparing for pageants months before the registration is even up or anything like that. So that was the same thing for me and Miss Africa Calabar. I started preparing more than 6 months before the actual pageant. And so for me, that's when it started, the preparation. And so when people were telling me, there's this thing that people think pageant girls just land on crowns, and they're like, oh, you're so lucky, you're Miss Africa. I'm like, you don't know the work I put into it. It's not luck, it's not just luck, it's blessings, a lot of blessings, and a lot of hard work. So for me, it was a lot of hard work, but I love the things that it called out in me. It really called out in me leadership. It called out that aspect of leadership in me, and I just love that experience. I wouldn't take it back for anything.
Irene, in your IGTV, you posted there that you have a series of series of videos advocating for African stereotypes. So can you tell us more about this? And it's very interesting because we just celebrated, or are we still celebrating the Black Awareness Month?
We are.
Okay, so it's Black Awareness Month. Well, we are doing this interview. So basically, I'm a lover of the African continent, being that, we've done so much work in Kenya and Tanzania. And Irene, can you tell us more about your advocacy about Black versus African stereotypes?
So one of the things I realized when I was preparing for the Miss Africa and during my reign is that there's such a misrepresented image of Africa. Most times people either think around something like Wakanda, which guys is not really the case here. Or
I know.
around a lot of poverty, They think a lot of, lions. That's it. That's all they know about Africa. And they just summed up a whole continent of such great diversity into only just a lump of these three things, and assuming that's it, and no interest whatsoever to actually educate themselves on the same. So I said, during my reign, my year of service last year, I decided, let me try and change that narrative. Let me actually share a holistic perspective of Africa, meaning the good, the bad, the beautiful, everything, so people can really get to understand and appreciate what Africa is about. So that's why I named it African Stereotype. It's like I'm pinpointing the stereotypes that are there and trying to say, no, this is not the case, this is a case, or maybe that's one of the correct stereotypes there. Yeah,
and I'm good, and I'm really happy that you're doing that, because here you are, you're such a very beautiful woman. And then you have that IGTV series about African stereotypes. It's good that people around the world get educated that Africa is more than Wakanda, Black Panther, poverty, and a whole bunch of stereotypes against the African continent. How has your life changed after winning Miss Africa Calabar?
So much, so much. But just like I said, one of the things I feel is called out in me is leadership. And during my time trying to teach people about, the African stereotypes, the problems, the good, the bad, the beautiful, I actually realized so much about my continent, and I've gotten such a passion to develop Africa. I've seen the potential, and I'm like, there's so much potential that is untapped, and I just have to be part of the front runners who actually make sure this potential is finally achieved. And that is one of the things that is such a great impact. It's changed my mindset and actually influenced me to start my own company last year. I started a company, it's called Kuza Africa. It's still in the ground formation stages, but it's called Kuza Mwanga Africa, meaning it's like nurture the light of Africa. That's where you translate that. So that's what the company is about. It's trying to get to the correct development of Africa, because there's so much potential.
Oh, that's really beautiful. And I think one of the ways that you can actually help Africa put in the map is to be a part of this platform that the Lord has given, which is pageantry.
Yeah.
And it'll be no surprise, Irene, that you're going to do so well at Miss Grand, and with all the platforms that the Lord will give you in pageantry, and make a difference in your, with your company in Kenya, in all the pageants that Kenya will be associated with in the future. So watch out for Irene at Miss Grand, and she will definitely slay it. Okay. So next, we're all curious, how were you chosen as Miss Grand Kenya? I mean, I was really excited. I was one of the first to know, guys. So how were you chosen?
He really was. I just told him, and I'm like, shh, we're not telling anyone yet.
I know. That was a week before you were crowned. So how were you chosen? Like, can you tell us how the process went?
So here's the thing, there's no national director for Miss Grand Kenya. So it's non-existent as of now. But I saw Miss Grand, I saw the timing, it was perfect. Everything about Miss Grand is perfect for the journey that I am on. And so I decided, hey, I can't let that stop me. So I decided, let me reach out to them personally. So I did. I reached out to them. I sent them a bio of myself. I sent them images. I said, please accept this as my application, because there's no Miss Grand Kenya. And then if you feel I am worthy of that title, let me know the next steps from here. And they did. They looked at it. I think they took like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, please, 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 God. And they finally said, hey, yeah, we would like you to represent Kenya. You would be an amazing candidate. And that's how I'm here.
Interesting. And you know what? Off the record, we are going to talk. And thank you for sharing that this is how you got the crown, and you are really crown worthy. And I do believe that the Lord granted this to you because He trusts you enough that you will propagate and multiply the platform He has given you for Kenya. So God bless you on that, Irene. And next question. What are you most looking forward to at the Miss Grand International Pageant?
In all honesty, I have never been to an international pageant with this number of candidates, and that's
Right.
one of the things I'm looking forward to. I want to see what that feels like, being in a pageant with 60 plus girls. I want to know what that feels like. And I also want to test myself. Can I stand out in the middle of the 60 girls
I'm
and
sure.
such? So I think that's one of the things, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. I mean, you were wondering if you're gonna stand out. You're definitely going to stand out. That's out of the question, Irene. So okay,
That means a lot. That really does. Thank you.
of course. Okay, so everybody's very curious. We're almost done. Oh my gosh, Irene, you're so articulate and you answer questions so well with so much vibrance and gusto. Everyone's curious. How did you feel that you're competing with someone like Samantha Bernardo for Miss Grand International?
I am always looking out for the Filipino girls because y'all really do a good job at preparing your girls. But I look out to learn from them, because I remember when I did Miss Progress International before Miss Africa, I was with Sarah and she did Binibini Filipinas. I think it was with Katrina Gray 2018, and she was amongst the top 20. So I was actually with someone who has been in that space and is really that good, and I actually picked up a lot of tips from her that I believe I even used to win Miss Africa itself. So as much as I'm excited to meet her, I'm excited to also see what tips can she maybe give me. Are we gonna be good friends like I am with Sarah? And yeah.
So in line with this, what beauty queen tips or pageantry tips did you learn from the Filipina queen that you competed with at Miss Progress International?
Well, one of the really interesting ones that maybe I would have never thought about is she had such a presence during any commitment we were at, whether it was filmed or not. She was very present. You could feel her presence, and she'd make sure to, even just in the photos themselves, she'd make sure to actually, you could feel her presence just by looking at the photos. You'd land at her fast, and I was like, wow, that's powerful. I need to know what you're doing.
So it's more like how she presented herself and how she was, her overall bearing and stuff. And then what is your first impression when you saw a Filipina queen competing with you during that competition?
Well, I've always been a big fan of pageantry, so I was ready. I knew what the Filipinas bring to the table, so I wasn't shocked. I was more like, let me learn, I wasn't shocked as much. I also wasn't intimidated, because I decided if you use it as a learning experience and as an experience for growth, and you are more grateful than intimidated, you'll actually still stand out. And I did, because at Miss Progress, I actually was amongst the top 12 nominees. So I still did stand out. It was amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you did so well there. So Miss Progress was held where, in China, right?
No, it was Italy.
Oh, Italy. Okay, so did you enjoy, can you tell us more about your journey at Miss Progress International, and what was the pageant all about?
This pageant is very, what can I say? It's very grounded on one's project. Actually, 80% of the results are all about the project. So really, it's like beauty queens going, yes, but you are more of pitching your idea, your proposal, your innovative, idea of changing the world around certain things to them. And then if they like it, they actually give you, the pageant prize is actually more of a sponsorship to promote your, say, project. So it was very particular to that. And I really love that was my first international pageant, because it had me ask the questions, what can I bring to the table? How can I change the world? Instead of just thinking, let me look pretty, let me do this, let me walk beautifully on stage. It actually made me realize pageantry has such a heavy platform of impact that I need to use. So I really saw it so intentional of God to set me out on that exact path.
You know what, Irene, I can see you competing not just at Miss Grand International, but I could see you competing at other pageants as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if after Miss Grand, you'd be doing so well in another kind of pageant. And we're gonna talk about that off the record. So guys, sorry, something came up in the middle of our interview. So here's Irene again. So Irene, let's continue with your Miss Progress International journey. So yeah, Irene, like I've said, I could see you like, competing at another pageant right after Miss Grand Kenya. So now that you shared how you got the title as Miss Grand Kenya, you were just more than appointed. You actually applied personally to Nawat and the organization.
Yeah.
Do you dream of becoming a national director someday for Miss Grand Kenya or for I don't know, for any of the major crowns or titles for Kenya?
I dream of changing the pageantry industry in Kenya, honestly. It's not as appreciated as it should be. People don't view it as such an impactful, platform, and yet it is, because I have experienced it firsthand and I know it. It's been able to not only provide for me financially, but it's been able to change my mindset. It's been able to help in such tremendous internal and personal growth that I'm like, everyone needs a taste of this. So I dream of changing the pageantry industry. So yes, part of that process will look like being a national director to some certain pageants and making sure that I'm presenting the girls with that opportunity to actually go represent their country and have this experience that I've had that is so amazing.
So talking about changing the pageantry in Kenya, like what is the state of pageantry in Kenya right now that you want to change? Like being that, okay, it's less appreciated, like any portion of the pageantry that you want it to be highlighted for Kenya and for the world to see about Kenya.
I really feel like in terms of pageantry in Kenya, you find that there's literally zero appreciation. For example, I am Miss Grand Kenya, but even trying to reach out to other organizations here, national organizations, and telling them, hey, I'm Miss Grand Kenya, can we partner in so and so? And so when I go, I'll do this and this and this for you, They don't see any kind of value to that. And yet it's so easy. I feel like if it was Miss Grand Philippines, for her to reach out to someone and say, let's partner like this, it'd probably be a yes, let's do this. But here, there's no appreciation in that level. But, I don't blame them because they haven't seen the fruits of pageantry yet. So that's what I'd like to change. I'd like for me to, and with the community here that actually appreciates pageantry, it's quite small, but the good thing with a small community is you're able to really kind of connect well and really build up from that. So with the community here that appreciates pageantry, I want to keep pushing slowly to make sure that our pageants are really high-end, our pageants are producing winners to begin with, because once other corporate organizations start seeing this is what pageantry is bringing to the table, they'll want to partner. So that's just a small example of something I'd like to change.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised that since I can feel your passion and your desire to change the industry, I will pray for that. And this is the reason why we're doing this interview, because I will be the one who's going to help campaign for Miss Grand Kenya with the friends that I know here in the Philippines. And I believe in you so much, Irene. This is a very effortless job, and I will be the one to help you on that part, okay? So it's just too bad that COVID happened and all the pageants are happening at the same time, because had I known that you applied, had I known last year that you applied, we could have worked something out for the evening gown. But don't worry, guys, I'm helping Irene privately, and you're going to see the results when she competes at Miss Grand International. So Irene, last question. I know everyone's fascinated with the Filipino queens and the kind of impact that Philippine pageantry has done for the rest of the world. So any Filipino beauty queens that you look up to that inspired you to pursue pageantry?
I remember the first proper pageant I watched. I have been watching pageantry, but not with focus of, let me try to see what this is about. And honestly, in all honesty, it was actually Catriona Gray. She blew my mind. I was just like, the dress, the walk, I just couldn't. I loved everything about her persona, how she would answer questions, and there was such a genuineness to what she's doing and what she's saying that convinced me that there's something to be gotten in pageantry and made me to even pursue it even more. I remember when I was now competing for my pageant, when I was doing Miss Progress, Miss Africa, every time I was thinking, you know what? Give that performance like Catriona Gray would. Make sure you just push it not the same exact way, of course, with my own gist and my own personality, but make sure that I'm giving my all, because that's what I felt she did. She poured herself out into getting the Miss Universe crown.
Oh, that's good, because you're not alone with that. The Catriona effect has been all over. Yeah, and it's so nice because now I'm talking to you, and then that was also the same time that Miss Wavaya Kariuki Kenya was represented at Miss Universe. She competed there, and I heard so many funny stories with Wavaya, how it went for her, and she really did say that Catriona, aside from being a very excellent performer, she was actually a very, very beautiful human being. And what's so amazing, Irene, is that you can only see her competitiveness on stage, but she's very different in person. Like, she is really friendly, and she made the pageant bearable for everyone. I mean, that's what Vaya just said. So, yeah, Irene, you are so amazing. I'm lost for words. I ran out of questions. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much. That's part 1 of Pageant Talks with Irene Mukii, Miss Grand Kenya. And let's see in part 2, as she slays or will she slay, the key word and final statement. So stay tuned for that. Bye.
Bye.